In this video, I'm going to be using the UC scaling teeth numbers 13 and 14. I am sitting at 9 o'clock to about 8 o'clock to my patient. I'm having their chin up and then they are turning away from me, so I have a direct vision of the lingual surfaces of the 13 and 14. We want to select the correct working end there's a couple different ways. You can make it look like you're inserting the tip onto the distal surface of the tooth, and you can see that your terminal shank is parallel and your functional shank is up and over the tooth. The other way is if you are using it, making the tip look like it's going towards the mesial, the face of the blade is facing towards the surface of the tooth that you are working on. For instance, if it was the incorrect working end and you tried to have your tip go in towards the distal, your functional shank is now, or the terminal shank is crossing over that lingual surface of the tooth, which is incorrect. And if you tried to do it towards the mesial, the face of the blade is facing away. So going back to the correct working end here. There we go. Okay. So you want to insert your tip at 0 degrees, so that way you're not cutting the gums of your patient. Then you'll want to open your blade up to about 70 to 80 degrees, and then we're going to achieve a scaling motion by just moving your arm up and down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Getting into the interproximal. You'll pivot in there. Down, 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 down. Remove your blade. And then flip the blade around, starting at that distal lingual line angle, and then we're going to make our way towards the mesial. Starting again with that 0 degrees on the surface of the tooth to insert below the gum line, opening it up. Keep making sure that that corner of that toe of your blade is adapted towards the tooth, and then up, down, up, down, pivot, up, down, pivot, up, down, pivot, up, down, pivot, roll, down, pivot, roll, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down, up, down, pivot, roll, up, and then in the interproximal, just moving your elbow up and down to scale the mesial surface of tooth 14. Removing. Okay, now going to tooth number 13 here. I am going to fulcrum, about 2 teeth away, inserting my blade as close to 0 degrees as possible, opening it up, and then now I can scale towards the distal by just doing up-down motions with my elbow. Up, down, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Removing the blade, turning your instrument around, and now inserting again, close to 0 degrees as possible, opening up your blade, making sure that that toe, corner of that toe is the one adapted, and then up, down, pivot, up, down, pivot, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down, 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 and remove. And working on the buccal surfaces of 13 and 14, I am now sitting at 11 o'clock of my patient, and I did adjust the typodont to move towards me. So I would ask my patient, still with their chin up, to just turn their head towards me. Using the correct working end, we can see that if my instrument is pointed towards the mesial surface of the tooth that I want to work on, the face of the blade is again facing towards the tooth. Incorrect working end, face of the blade away from the tooth. Okay. So we want to insert at the distal buccal line angle of tooth number 14 at as close to 0 degrees as we can. And then we can bring our instrument handle up to achieve that 80 degrees. And then we're going to go towards the distal, making sure that the corner of that toe is adapted to the tooth. We're going to do up, down, pivot into the interproximal, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Remove. Turning your instrument around, and then we're going to make sure at 0 degrees again, insert at that distal buccal line angle, opening up the instrument, making sure that corner is adapted. There. And up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down, up, down, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and remove. Now we'll go on to tooth 13. Inserting at 0, opening up the blade, up, down, pivot in, up, down, up, down, up, down. And inserting again at that distal line angle, opening up the blade, up, down, pivot, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down, pivot, roll, up, down,